Hi there and welcome to the Barbara Young channel. Welcome to my Friday sews. Today, well, I'm just actually in the middle of looking through some patterns. Got a number of them here and I'm just trying to work out what I'm going to do because I've got an event coming up in the future and I want to make something really nice for it, something a little bit special. So I'm trying to sort of, I suppose, cobble something together. But anyway, yeah, so I'm just trying to figure things out. This is my initial stage of working that out. But that's not what I'm here to talk about this week, because that's something in the future. I've only just really begun that. What I'm actually want to talk about is this skirt that I'm wearing, which is the Simplicity 8133. That one. Now, this skirt I've made many times before. Certainly have made it quite a few times. Yeah, it's a really nice skirt. Now, if you watch my channel, you would have seen that just recently I've made a jacket and I had some fabric left over from that jacket. So I thought I'd make a skirt out of it, the wrap skirt, because there was enough there for it. So yeah, so let's have a look at that. What I'll do is I'll stand up, clear this out of the way, and show you the skirt. And here it is, the skirt on me. Yeah, it's a nice skirt, and I say I've made this loads of times before. I'm sure you would have seen previously the different styles that I've done, but this one's a bit of a challenge because this material is certainly a bit thicker. Being 45% wool, a wool mix, then yeah, there's a certain bulk to it, which is great because it means that there's nice bit of weight to it and it should be nice and warm on me. I know it's not the longest of skirts, it's actually one of the shorter skirts that I've got that I wear, but yeah, it is nice. I do like it, and the way that it sits on my waist as well. I know it's because it's a wrap skirt, so I can set the hook and bar that I've got here wherever I want, so it's nice and I suppose snug but comfortable. So yeah, you know, feels quite nice and fits quite well, I feel. And this big tie here, because it's that thick wool, it's made this really big sort of bow part for the where it ties up there. It does have pockets, side seam pockets, so that's brilliant. So yeah, all in all, a really nice skirt, and again fits me really well because I knew it would, because I say I've made it before, and it actually goes together with the jacket that I made the other week that I'd finished off. So we just pop this on. See, just have to move that a moment, because otherwise that'll be making lots of noise, won't it? Yeah, I think that works well together. Just do it up. And there we go. My skirt and jacket. I think it looks perfectly fine myself. I'm quite happy with that. And like I say, I do like the length. I don't think it would work if it was any longer, even though I have made it a bit longer previously. So a nice sort of skirt and jacket outfit, and it should keep me nice and warm in the colder weather. Not so good when it's wet, which is what it is at the moment. It's blowing a bit of a storm out there because we've got a storm coming through, so never mind. Because I was going to film a bit of this outside, but I don't really want to get blown across the garden because it's a bit, yeah, never mind. But there you go. That's the weather around here. But yeah, I like this. It's really nice and comfortable. Matches with this jacket because it is the same fabrics, what was left over. Magic. I think that's brilliant. What I'll do is I will take this off and I will show you some of the details in this skirt, because I had to do a couple of things, I suppose, a little bit differently. Or there's one particular thing I did differently, mainly because of the bulk of the material in this. So I'll just get and show you those details. So this skirt was quite easy to put together, but there were a few things that made this a little bit more tricky than what I've done before when I've made this particular skirt. Normally when I've made this skirt, I've made it out of lighter weight materials, but then I did use some Laura Ashley fabric. It was meant to be like upholstery or curtaining fabric, and that was quite heavy. And so I did a bit heavier work, or I used slightly heavier, fabrics to make a couple of the skirts. But this one is by far the heaviest fabric, being this wool blend. Just because of the way that it works and it sits, means that this skirt is actually quite heavy. There's a certain amount of weight in this, which I'm happy with, because normally the thing with a wrap skirt is that when it wraps over, that bit, if it's too lightweight, can lead to embarrassing moments, I suppose, and that's what we don't want. So what have I done? Well, as normal, I've put side seam pockets in this, and I know the original pattern had patch pockets, but I just think they fit in perfectly fine. I've lined it again with this lining fabric. Now, if I remember rightly, this lining fabric did come from the swaps table from the Sewing Social, so that was brilliant. I did use it in my jacket as well, because I used it in the lining for the sleeves. You can see that there, I suppose. So the sleeves would go on and off better, and had enough left that I could use it for the lining on this, which is brilliant. And that's normal, that's all part of this. The lining is an addition to the pattern. The normal pattern doesn't have lining, but it's easy enough to put a lining in this. Hemmed it as I normally do with bias tape or hem tape, whatever it is. And this lovely one, which I've used before, which says "So Happy." Can you see that? Let me just get into it nicely so you can actually see that. And that's the hem in the skirt. But then the thing that's different is up here on the waistband. And if you notice, but there's some extra bias tape there. Now the reason for putting this in is that this layers here are that thick, is that I just knew it's going to be really difficult to stitch this, to stitch that down, because you put it on like you do with a lot of them. You stitch it on one side, you turn it over, and then turn the seam allowance up, and then stitch in the ditch. And this wasn't going to do that. I just knew it was way too thick. So what I did is that I took some bias tape, some bias binding, and I just opened it out and then just folded it in half and ironed it so it's just in half, and then used it effectively a bit more like piping, and that's the only way I can describe it. And I put that on the inside so that when this turns down and I have to stitch in the ditch, I know that it will actually catch the bias tape, my faux piping as it were. So it will have something to anchor to, but at the same time that thickness there is much thinner than this thickness of the whole waistband, so I know that it's going to be able to stitch through that and actually still hold the whole thing down, keep it in place. Yeah, I even put my own little label on it, the Barbara Young label. So that's what I did there on that waistband, knowing that that's the only way really I was going to be able to get this to stitch down. It's still a bit wobbly. Some places it didn't look or come out very good, but because of the pattern, and I've got brown thread, and that you can't see that my stitching isn't brilliant on that ditch stitch. It hides itself. And of course, because that piece is on the inside, it's not seen. It's a little detail that I know's there. It's a little hidden gem, as it were. And then with this one, I decided, well, it's what I keep meaning to do on all of them. I put a hook and bar on there, but I've put 2 bars so that obviously when you've got it on, I can put it on the tightest one. But if I'm having a day when I feel a bit bloated, I can hook it onto the second bar, and that gives me about another inch, which is actually just perfect, really, but without it you know, showing anything. So yeah, so that's worked out brilliantly. I like the way that that's done. Little bit of work to do on it. It was a little bit more challenging, took a bit more time than this skirt normally does, but then, you know, that I chose this. I decided to use this fabric partly because I had it left and I wanted it to match the jacket, but also because, yes, it is a bit challenging. Why not challenge myself to do something that's a little bit more taxing, because then I get more experience of working with this type of fabric. So working with fabrics that I don't normally work with. You know, it's great working with the all the nice stable wovens, but then I'm not really challenging myself. So sometimes I do use more slinkier stuff, but at the same time, using this heavy stuff is also a challenge in a different way, because even though it is a woven, it's much different than stitching up a cotton poplin or something, you know. So yeah, that skirt came out really nice, and it's a really lovely skirt, feels really comfortable, and hopefully I'll get lots of wear out of it, along with the jacket. So there we go. And if anybody's wondering what I'm currently wearing, the skirt is it's ready to wear, it's off the peg skirt, but it is quite nice and comfortable. And the shirt is actually one of my own sort of design, where basically it's a copy of a shirt that I used to have, and it started to fall to pieces, so I basically took it apart and copied it. There are a number of slight adjustments and differences with this version, my version, than the version that I had, but yeah, it is a nice one with this pin tucks and that in there. It's really comfortable. This is a nice stable cotton, so it's easy to work with. But yeah, all in all, it was a nice make, that was. So there you go, that was my week. That was what I made, the Simplicity 8133. That's what I did. Finished it off. So now I have a jacket and skirt. All I need to do now is to maybe make a shirt that might go with it. So then I have a whole set, really, wouldn't I then? Anything else to say about? I went to my sewing social on Saturday, which was brilliant. It was a really nice time, really enjoyed it. Great to chat and to sew. I did actually work on this skirt quite a bit, which is why I managed to get it finished. Otherwise I probably wouldn't have got it done. But yeah, did a lot of work on it, and then, like I say, finished it off during the week so I could have it done for today. So yeah, so that was enjoyable, and it was a nice session. It was a nice meet up this last Saturday. Not that it isn't at all. It's always brilliant. I seem to really enjoy it last Saturday, and that was really great. So yeah, sewing social. Next sewing social at the end of this month, end of October. We're actually knocking on Halloween then, aren't we, really? Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing for that. I haven't got a clue at the moment, no idea whatsoever. But yeah, really enjoyed that, and really enjoyed making the skirt and getting it done. So there we go, that was my week. That's what I've done. I might go back to looking over this stuff and doing a bit more planning on that, or I could just try and make something else, I suppose, sew something else up. Who knows? I haven't decided yet, but there we go. Never mind. Onwards we go. And that's about it now for my week. There's nothing else to tell you about. So I think it's just left me to move on and to say, if you like this video, please do give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and that way you always get a notification if you click that little bell icon of when my videos come out. Please do comment. I do love reading your comments. It's always nice to hear what you're thinking and what you're up to, and if you wish to comment between yourselves, please do, because as I say, that's why we come here, to make those connections between ourselves, isn't it? And I must also say thank you to Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room for creating the hashtag fridaysews. So I think it's just left me to say thank you very much for watching my video, and I look forward to seeing my next video. Bye. windy and dark out here.